And welcome, everyone. This is Terry Naturally with another edition of Terry Talks Nutrition. We're here every weekend, same time, same station. And we are here to help you understand more of how you can take care of yourself health-wise and how you can have a healthier, more vital life all of your life. Just because you get older doesn't mean you have to get older. You can stay young, but still count the years. We are responsible for our health, no one else. We can't say that, I have type 2 diabetes. The doctor has diagnosed it. He put me on drugs. Why do you have type 2 diabetes? Well, the American diet is very high in carbohydrates and sugar, and that is the beginning of type 2 diabetes. When they diagnose anyone with a high blood sugar level, and then they prescribe drugs, that's an easy way out. But it doesn't make you healthier. And in the long run, it's going to make you more unhealthy because sugar is one of the most, I don't want to call it a food. It really is not a food. We get nothing from sugar. There's no vitamins and minerals in sugar. There's no nutrition in sugar. And we are consuming a lot of sugar. So when you consume a lot of sugar, a lot of that sugar is going to end up in the bloodstream. So when they look at your blood and you have a very high blood sugar level, you don't need a drug. You need to quit eating sugar. Lower your intake of carbohydrates. Lower the amount of sugar. No, don't lower the amount of sugar. Don't eat sugar. And look at the labels when you buy foods. And if you have a high content of carbohydrates and sugar, it's not the food for you. All the sugar is the beginning of many complications, especially with cancer and heart disease. So we can change our health drastically because all the food we eat carries messengers to our body. And of course, good food carries messengers of good news to our cells. And when we eat junk, it's carrying bad news, bad chemicals to our cells in our body. You put bad fuel in your car, it's not going to perform well. Good fuel for your car performs well. Same with your body. Eat the right fuel, the right food to improve the quality of your life, the quality of your health. So that's what we're trying to help you understand, that you can make changes any time in your life. Doesn't make a difference how old you are. The only thing, when you get really older, you may have damaged your body to an extent that you may not be able to reverse it. If you've got bone on bone, hip, shoulders, knees, wherever, we're not going to reverse that. You've already destroyed too much to reverse. You can make it better. You can have a whole lot less pain. You don't even need to have pain. If you do the right selection of nutrients, pain-relieving nutrients, like curcumin, like boswellia, like DLPA, nattokinase. Those are the 4 most powerful nutrients to relieve pain, naturally. No side effects. No stomach, kidney, or liver damage. Those are the kind of things we like to share with you to make you have a better quality of life. So that's why we're here every weekend to share news with you. And today, we're going to talk about high blood pressure, commonly called the silent killer. You don't know you have it until you have a major complication. And then just for fun, I'm going to give you a little bit of a food trivia and then help you deal with anxiety. And you know your HDL, which is commonly called the good cholesterol, how do we raise it? Because the higher it is, the more health we have. We don't have to worry about high cholesterol if we have low triglycerides and high HDL. Just because the doctor looks at the blood and said, oh, you've got a high cholesterol level. That's not the answer. That's not the problem. There are fractions to the cholesterol that if they're in sync and in balance, high cholesterol levels are not the problem. A low HDL, the high density lipoproteins, the high HDL is good for us, and very low triglyceride is the other answer. Then we'll talk about why people have such a crisis with constipation and how you can be more active to have a healthier heart. And we have all kinds of good stuff to share with you today. We never get through our whole selection of topics that we want to share with you. But we will share as much as we possibly can to help you make the best possible changes. The silent killer. What to know about high blood pressure? Well, do you know? If your blood pressure is high, do you know that? 1 in 3 adults have high blood pressure, but half of them don't even know it. And you should know it. It's a marker that you can't overlook. By getting blood pressure down. Now, this is an actual fact. I don't share with you my opinions. Not very often, but I do. But I'll let you know when I do. But this is actual a fact. By getting blood pressure down, over 76 million deaths could be prevented. 76 million people would not die and would prevent death by lowering their blood pressure. And you can do it. High blood pressure, which is very common in America, is more likely to happen if you are overweight, not physically active, you smoke, you get too much sodium in your diet. Now, good salt is not a problem. People that are very sensitive to sodium, that will raise the blood pressure, is a very, very small percentage of people, about 5%. Not everybody has to avoid sodium. Many people are sodium sensitive, like 5% of the population. Not that you get too much sodium, but you get too little potassium. And where do we get potassium? Fruits and vegetables. And also add vitamin D to your diet. Now, the symptoms of high blood pressure. What to look for? There are none. There are no symptoms to high blood pressure. This is very serious and something you should be aware of and have your blood pressure checked. Most people have no signs or symptoms whatsoever, even when blood pressure reaches dangerously high levels. So what happens when you don't treat your high blood pressure? Now, here are two studies that I have come across that are very, very interesting. Here, a high dementia risk, senile, Alzheimer's disease. A new study reports that people with untreated high blood pressure have a greater risk of developing dementia. What they did was the researchers actually collected the results of 17 other studies involving over 34,000 older adults, looking at connections between blood pressure and dementia. And the results, untreated high blood pressure increased dementia risk by 42%. 42% versus healthy adults. But subjects whose blood pressure was treated had no greater risk of dementia than people with normal blood pressure. So that means treat your blood pressure. You should know what it is. Have you had your blood pressure checked recently? I did. Just to know. If you don't know, you're setting yourself up for risk. Early death comes from high blood pressure. Overweight adults with even slightly high blood pressure levels will die at a younger age. A 27-year-long study, 27 years, a very long study, including over 15,000 subjects, found that participants of the study with metabolic syndrome died 2.5 years earlier than healthy controls. The biggest risk factor to cause early death was elevated blood pressure levels, which was associated with 35% increased risk of heart attacks or stroke. Now, how can you lower your blood pressure? Naturally, without drugs. But if you have to take a drug, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician, I'm not going to prescribe something for you that would be a drug, nor would I say don't take a drug. You have to talk to your doctor. But I'm giving you some references on how to treat your blood pressure naturally. You can consult your physician and work together, and maybe you may need a high blood pressure drug and a natural alternative. But here's some research on French grapeseed extract, which reduces blood pressure. This was a study of 29 adults with pre-hypertension, took 300 milligrams of French grapeseed extract or a placebo for 6 weeks. The grapeseed extract reduced the systolic blood pressure. The systolic blood pressure is the higher number. When you say 124 or 120 over 80, well, the 120 or the 124 is the systolic, systolic, systolic blood pressure. And the grapeseed extract reduced that higher number by an average of 5.6%. The The higher the initial reading, the greater the reduction. And this is an all-natural extract, no side effects, none whatsoever. Now, the high systolic blood pressure, the top number, is a greater risk factor than the bottom number, which is called diastolic. The lower number, the bottom number, 120 over 80. 80 is the bottom number. Now, the risk factor is the top number is a greater risk factor than the lower number, causing more damage to the brain, heart, kidney problems, and even death, especially in middle-aged and older adults. Now, when they take a number of clinical studies, a number of trials, in this case, they took 16 trials. This is what is called a meta-analysis, M-E-T-A, analysis. They look at a number of studies and come to a conclusion with one study based on all the 6 previous trials on French grapeseed extract in over 800 patients, and confirmed that grapeseed extract is as effective at reducing blood pressure levels without significant side effects or adverse events. Safe, but tremendously effective. Another natural alternative, my good old friend, the olive oil extract. Well, in this case, it's the olive leaf that is very powerful in lowering blood pressure. A very specialized, standardized olive leaf extract, clinically tested to reduce blood pressure. Well, in this study, it lowered the systolic, the high number, pressure by 11 points and lowered the diastolic pressure by 5 points, and the results are equal to a prescription blood pressure medication. You can do it in a safer way, but be careful. High blood pressure is serious, and you don't want it left unchecked. And please have someone check your blood pressure. Go to a clinic. Talk to your doctor. Make sure you have a safe level of blood pressure. Now, in the study, the olive leaf group also had a significant reduction in inflammatory triglyceride levels. Now, that is a bad fat. Triglycerides are a fat made primarily from carbohydrates and sugar and cause a lot of inflammation and heart disease. Cholesterol is not the enemy. Triglycerides are. And there was no reduction of high blood pressure in the drug group. So, no side effects, no significant adverse effects from olive leaf extract. What I probably would do is I would use a combination of French grapeseed extract and olive leaf extract. In fact, in a study of identical twins with borderline high blood pressure, now what they did was they separated the twins, and each one of the twins was given a different prescription. One of the pair received olive leaf extract while their twin was not treated. And the results of this study, the twins receiving olive leaf saw a reduction of up to 13 points in systolic blood pressure and 5 points in diastolic blood pressure. while the twins in the placebo group, otherwise receiving a fake pill, saw no reduction whatsoever. So what I would do, I would look for something like a 500 milligram olive leaf standardized and 100 milligrams of French grapeseed extract, tannin-free, and I would take that twice a day. That's based on the clinical studies, 500 milligrams of olive leaf extract, 100 milligrams of French grapeseed extract, taken together twice a day. So you got 600 milligrams combination, taken one dose in the morning and one dose in the afternoon or in the evening. That will help your blood pressure as effectively as medication. And there are a lot of people taking medication for high blood pressure. Now, when you take anything, drug or a natural alternative, it's going to take you about 3 months to regulate your blood pressure successfully. So don't try something for a week or two and say it's not working. It's not going to work. It takes time to regulate your blood pressure. Now, just for fun, I'm going to test your food knowledge. Well, here's the question. What is selling for as much as $5,000 a pound? No, it's not gold. This is the most expensive spice in the world. The most expensive spice in the world. $5,000 a pound. What is it? Well, the answer is saffron. It takes 150,000 to 170,000 flowers to produce 1 pound of saffron, and each flower must be separated by hand to harvest the saffron. Very expensive. What you see as saffron are the little threads that are in the center of the flower. And they're picked by hand. So now, what is the only fruit with seeds on the outside of the fruit? And the answer is strawberries. Strawberries are also one of the dirtiest fruits anywhere around the world. High levels, very, very high levels of pesticides and chemicals are used in conventional strawberry cultivation. But strawberries have lots of health benefits. So buy organic strawberries. Support the good growing of organic strawberries. And buy only organic. It's the dirtiest fruit that we can consume, contaminated with so many chemicals and pesticides. Now that's fruit. Now the other vegetable, which has the highest level of pesticides and chemicals during their growing period, what is the answer? Spinach. To avoid strawberries and spinach unless they're organic. Now, true or false? Peanuts are the most popular nut in America. Well, first of all, that's false. Peanuts are not nuts. Nuts grow above the ground in trees. Peanuts grow underground and are classified as a legume, like a bean. What is the most popular tree in America? what is the most popular tree nut in America? And that is the almond. 95% of all the almonds grown in the world are grown in California. Almonds contain very healthy fats, fiber, protein, magnesium, and vitamin E. Now, the health benefits of almonds include lowering blood pressure, lowering blood sugar, and they have also been found to reduce hunger and promote weight loss. A very healthy nut. Other nuts that are as healthy, or just maybe a hair less than almonds, walnuts and pecans. They're the best nut of all. And nuts are very, very healthy. Don't eat chips. Don't eat all that fried chips, salted, all that. Select nuts as a popular snack. Very, very healthy. And provides tremendous benefits for a variety of health conditions. Very good for the heart. Very good for prevention of cancer. And very low in carbohydrates or sugar. So that, my friends, we are halfway through the program. We're at the bottom of the hour, but we'll be here to the top of the hour, so don't go anywhere. But I've got to pause for a few seconds to let the station, I should say, identify itself, and do some commercials. So you stay right there, and I'm going to stay right here, and I'm going to come back right after these messages. We'll have more to share with you right after this commercial break. Stay there. I'll be right back. Welcome back. We're here with Terry Talks Nutrition. We're here to share more information with you to the top of the hour. We're going to begin with how to deal with anxiety. This is a very anxious world. It's not a disease. Everybody gets anxious at one time or another. Some more than others. You can deal with it naturally, and I'll share that with you in just a moment. But I want to remind you to go to my website, Terry Talks Nutrition. You know, we spend an hour on the weekend. We share an hour of information. And that's great. But you can go to my website and listen to all the past shows over and over again. You can read my newsletter that I send out every Friday to your email address. And you can read all those newsletters and listen to the radio shows that are stored there on the website. They're archived there for you. And there's all kinds of podcasts, information, videos, and a variety of information on how you can become healthier and avoid drugs or lower the amount of drugs. And I know many people, when they change their lives, they're no longer required to take drugs. They didn't need drugs anymore. Because when you start becoming healthier by selecting a better healthy diet, getting more exercise, sleeping better, stop smoking, stop excessive alcohol. Oh, a glass of wine's great. Or even just a beer sometimes is great. There's nothing harmful about it. In fact, wine is one of the top foods for a better healthy life. It's very, very common to have wine almost at every meal in the Mediterranean countries. Very healthy, has a very high level of polyphenols, those very healthy components that make our body healthier. We just have to make better choices in our life. So now how do we deal with anxiety? How anxious do you get? So how can we make a change in our life? How can we do the things that we need to do to be, you got to get to the bottom line. Americans have anxiety about a lot of issues. Everyone has different issues that make them anxious. In fact, in a recent survey from the American Psychiatric Association, 66% of Americans, 66% of Americans are concerned about their health, but do nothing about it. Can you get that? 66% don't want to be sick. They want to prevent cancer. They don't want to die from a heart attack, but they don't know what to do. And that's why we're here, to share some information. We don't have all the answers. I'm not going to promise you a healthier life, because that's all up to you. But you can do it if you start doing some of the things that we have talked about. You can become healthier. Get your blood pressure down. We talked about that in the first half of the program. If you get your blood pressure down, you're going to save your life. But do it smart. Talk to your doctor. But you can use like French grapeseed extract, the olive leaf extract, together, a combination. And it works more effectively than drugs and no side effects. Now, while 66% of Americans are concerned about their health, what do you want to do about it? Don't wait until the new year to make resolutions. Start today. And 37% of Americans said they are more anxious this year than any other year in the past. Well, good gracious, look around at the administration that we have. Can you imagine what's happening? It just doesn't make any sense. And 30% said they have spoken to a mental health professional, and that's up slightly from last year. 30% have concern about their mental health. And 68% said they felt children and teens are having more mental health issues than they ever did over a decade or two ago. Up 68% for children who should be enjoying life, having fun, but they're having more mental health issues. Just does not seem to be fair, right? Well, there are some natural anxiety relievers. And one is called Echinacea angustifolia. Now, I know some of you smart listeners know that Echinacea is for what? Cough and cold, flu. And it reduces the duration and the severity of a cold and flu. But that's based on a chemical compound, natural chemical compound, not a synthetic, not a drug, but a natural chemical in in Echinacea, called the echinacosides, and reduces anxiety and reduces cold and flu. But there is a very strong component in Echinacea called the alkamides. And the alkamides reduce anxiety. Now get this. It reduces anxiety as effectively as prescription drugs without any side effects, and safe for kids over the age of 4. And the dosage is tiny, only 40 to 80 milligrams daily of a very special extract of Echinacea that is concentrated and standardized for the alkamides, which work on the cannabinoids in the brain and reduces the excitability and reduces the anxiety. It takes the edge right off. You don't get that feeling of panic attacks or anxiety. Also, ashwagandha is another one of those favorite herbs for stress, for nervousness, for anxiety. Clinical trials of stressed adults, 30 to 40% reduction in depression, better than a drug. And anxiety scores versus only 10 to 20% reduction in a placebo group. So twice as effective as a placebo. And a 23% reduction in cortisol levels. Now the best dosage for ashwagandha, 150 milligrams standardized to 35% with withanolides. The withanolides are the key compounds found in ashwagandha. And 150 milligrams once or twice daily. And ashwagandha has a lot more benefits that I am sharing with you now. It's one of the most versatile stress reducers, increasing libido, increasing sexual enhancement, reducing nervousness, tension. It has a lot of benefits and even helps you sleep better. Drug companies now are examining and investigating ashwagandha to develop a sleep drug. Of course, they'll synthesize it. They'll make it synthetically. Then they can patent it. But it's in ashwagandha. And then another one of my favorites is omega-3. Fish oil. Nope, not fish oil, but omega-3 from salmon, the heads of the salmon. Why the head? Because in the head of the salmon, all the DHA and EPA is associated with phospholipids. The phospholipids in the brain of the salmon carries it into the body of the human and increases the level of omega-3 fatty acids much more effectively than in the body of the fish, which is where all the fish oil is, and the fish oil is usually rancid. It deteriorates very quickly, and it's bound to triglycerides, the same fat we are trying to avoid. We don't want more triglycerides, but that's what's found in fish oil. And anxiety is linked to inflammation. And omega-3s are very powerful anti-inflammatory compounds. In a clinical study, omega-3 supplementation in teens with a generic condition that increases the risk of schizophrenia, reduce the risk of serious mental illness, and improve cognitive function. Very good for kids. It's very safe. There are no known side effects to omega-3 fatty acids from the head of the salmon. That's where all the healthy phospholipid chemicals are, all natural. There's 5 phospholipids found in the human brain. That's what makes the brain function. And those same 5 phospholipids are found in the head of the salmon. You're getting much more risky components from the body of the fish, which is the fish oil. So you want a high level of phospholipids. That's what makes the brain improve cognitive function, loss of memory, short-term memory, not being able to think correctly, can't make concise decisions, can't think straight. All those conditions are associated with a lack of omega-3 fatty acids. So important for our health to reduce anxiety, depression, and improve the level of thinking. Now, I told you in the beginning of the program, HDL levels. That's the good, well, they refer to it as the good cholesterol. But all cholesterol is good. All fractions of cholesterol are good. But we want to balance those fractions. When a doctor gives you, oh my gosh, your cholesterol is at 240, 250. So what? What you need to know is how high is your HDL? How low is your triglycerides? They have a perfect ratio of the HDL to the triglycerides. And it's a 3 ratio of HDL to triglycerides. Or even less. Better less. Not higher. That's more damaging. So known as a good cholesterol HDL, well, it has a benefit because it grabs oxidized or what you would call the bad cholesterol, and takes it to the liver and allows the liver to process it, preventing it from being deposited in areas like the arteries where it doesn't belong. It scrubs the inner lining walls of the blood vessels to keep them clean and healthy. Every 1% increase in HDL levels can reduce your risk of heart disease by 2 to 3%. Now, what level should you have? Well, Dr. Stephen Sinatra has always recommended that the total HDL for men be 40, at least 40, and for women, 35. But I would like to see it higher. I think it should be at least 50. 40 for men up to 50, women up to at least 40. Raise it slightly more. It gives a better result based on many other studies. So there are 3 proven ways to raise the HDL. Now, if you have, for example, a triglyceride level at 300, and you have an HDL at 30, you divide the two and you get 10. It should be 3 or lower. But then if you have a triglyceride at 100 and you have an HDL at 50, that's 2. Perfect. So it's the ratio between the triglycerides, and the HDL. Now here are some proven, clinically studied, proven facts of ingredients that can raise your HDL significantly. Indian gooseberry. It's a plum-like berry. When I've been to India and I found a tree with gooseberries, it's very interesting. They have 5 different flavors as you chew them, from sweet to sour to pucker up your mouth, kind of tart. And also it's known as amla, A-M-L-A, amla. And it has been shown in clinical studies to increase the HDL levels by 17%. It also increased the glutathione levels by 61% and decreased the C-reactive protein by 63%. Now, the C-reactive protein is a biomarker that determines the levels of inflammation. And glutathione is your most powerful detoxifier of the body and the most powerful antioxidant. So Indian gooseberry is an amazing fruit. The other one is curcumin, which has been administered for 1 week to healthy volunteers, and it increased their HDL levels by 29% while reducing the oxidized cholesterol by 33%. Now, when I say oxidized cholesterol, that's your bad cholesterol. That's the LDL, the bad cholesterol. The HDL is the good cholesterol. So it's rancid, it's oxidized, it's damaged, and that's why it affects the body. So curcumin lowers the LDL and increases the HDL while reducing the oxidized cholesterol by 33%. So keep this in mind. Indian gooseberry, curcumin, and I just mentioned in my last portion of the program, the omega-3 fatty acids. Again, we found out that it's highly effective for anxiety and also highly effective for raising the HDL levels. One study found a 74% increase in a subfraction of HDL after just 6 weeks of omega-3 supplementation. I saw a study where the omega-3 fatty acids from the head of the salmon was given to, 2 doses were given to 40 patients for 6 weeks. And one subject in the study at the time was pregnant during the study, and her level was very low, 30 to 40 on the HDL. And after 6 weeks, it was 90. 90. There's no drug that would make that kind of an improvement in the HDL. Now, the study I ran across was one from 3 or 4 years ago. And in a result response from it, the subject that had that increased level was still had a high level of 70. The more you improve the HDL, the more you can find the better results from cholesterol. Now, I think the world is constipated. So many people have problems with constipation. And doctors will say, 2 or 3 times a week's okay. Once a week is okay. I've heard that so often when that is absolutely ridiculous. So do you need help to go? Well, the Wall Street Journal recently reported on a nationwide laxative shortage. Everything, from cars to parts to everything you can think of, there's a shortage. Everything after the pandemic has changed. You can't get anything anymore, or you have to wait for weeks or months. But why the demand for laxatives? Well, there's a few theories. Not exactly a study, but a theory. They're thinking this could be the possibility. Americans are aging. No question about that. Greater than ever before. There are more aged elderly Americans, which is a risk factor for constipation. The amount of fiber. The intake of fiber is declining. Nuts, fruits, vegetables, all of these are very good fiber-related products. And social media, the influencers on social media are promoting laxatives for weight loss. Crazy. Change your diet and you'll never have a problem losing weight. Nobody will. And fluctuating schedules due to travel and hybrid work schedules are also a theory as to why we have a decreased risk of constipation. But nevertheless, there are ways to restore regularity. Probiotics is one. We have a very special colony of friendly bacteria in our gut, in our colon. And in a study of older adults with constipation, Supplemental probiotics was associated with a 25% reduction in their overall constipation symptoms, frequency of bowel movements, abdominal pain, and bloating, including a 47% improvement in bowel frequency. Ayurvedic herbal combinations would also be a benefit. There was a study of 14 Ayurvedic herbs, including Andigraphis and Greater Galangalia, in a study of adults with gastrointestinal symptoms, including constipation. And the number of subjects experiencing more than 3 bowel movements a week increased from 12% to 76% by the time the study was over. This is a Ayurvedic herb combination that has been in the Ayurvedic medicine chest for hundreds of years. And the dosage is 800 milligrams of the herbal combination with a glass of water before bedtime. Now, it's not a laxative. You don't have to fear of taking it, that getting up the next morning you're going to have a problem on the way to work. Or you get on the subway, or get on a bus, or somewhere. You're afraid to leave home because you're afraid you're going to have an explosion if you have taken a laxative. You don't know when it's going to happen. But by taking the Ayurvedic herbal combination, it regulates the bowel. It regulates constipation and diarrhea. It regulates your digestive system. It actually regulates any pain or bloating. Some people have intestinal bloating, intestinal pain. Of course, if you have pain, check with your doctor. You never know why you have pain. But people that have a very poorly digested system, a poor transit time through the intestinal tract, this is the kind of combination, herbal combination, that will regulate and will not be a laxative, but in 2 to 3 days, after taking 800 milligrams of the herbal combination with water before bedtime, it'll regulate and balance your intestinal tract. So you won't have a laxative effect, but it'll regulate your intestinal tract to have a normal bowel movement without bloating, without gas, without any pain. And if you also have irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, it'll also help take care of that as well. These are the kind of things that I'm happy to suggest or recommend, or at least expose these ideas to you so that you can have a better quality of life. We can get better any time in our life. It isn't a matter of age. It isn't a matter of what you're doing. It isn't a matter of what your job is or what. Taking these natural alternatives that are equally as more effective than drugs gives you the benefit without medication, without having to worry about side effects. So, my friends, I'm almost out of time. That hour has flown by, and I'm so happy to be with you. But, it's time for me to sign off today. But you can join me every weekend, same time, same station, for more health tips as to how you can have a better quality of life. That's what you want. If you're listening, I'm sure that's what you want. If you didn't want that, you wouldn't be listening. So remember, your health is your choice. Everything you do is your choice. Everything. What you eat, what you wear, where you go, what you do, it's all a choice. Make health your choice. That's the bottom line. With that, my friends, say a prayer for this crazy, crazy world. And God bless you, and God bless this great country.
Thank you for listening to Terry Talks Nutrition Weekly Show. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, including Apple, Google, and iHeartRadio.